It's a familiar scene, isn't it? The textbook lies open, pages filled with information that you know you need to absorb, yet your mind feels like a runaway train, hurtling down a track paved with distractions. Your eyes scan the words, but the concepts seem to slip through your mental fingers like grains of sand. Maybe you're prepping for a crucial exam, or perhaps you're just trying to keep up with the demands of a challenging course. Whatever the reason, the struggle is real. Your brain simply refuses to cooperate. You're not alone in this frustrating battle. Many students, regardless of their intelligence or dedication, experience this phenomenon, the dreaded study slump. It's that feeling of mental resistance, that invisible wall that seems to block all attempts at focused learning. You might start with the best intentions, a freshly sharpened pencil, and a meticulously organized workspace, but within minutes, your thoughts begin to wander. You find yourself checking social media, making endless cups of coffee, or suddenly feeling the urgent need to reorganize your entire desk. This isn't about laziness or a lack of willpower. It's often a complex interplay of psychological factors, environmental influences, and ingrained habits. It's about the way our brains are wired to seek novelty, avoid discomfort, and conserve energy. In today's hyper-connected world, where notifications buzz and temptations abound, maintaining sustained focus can feel like an impossible feat. The sheer volume of information we're constantly bombarded with can overwhelm our cognitive resources, leaving us feeling mentally fatigued and unable to concentrate on the task at hand. We're going to explore these underlying factors, not as excuses, but as valuable insights that can help you understand and overcome this common challenge. This isn't just about cramming information into your head. It's about cultivating a more mindful and effective approach to learning. Think of your mind as a muscle. Just like any muscle, it needs to be warmed up, stretched, and trained to perform at its best. You wouldn't expect to run a marathon without proper preparation, and you shouldn't expect your brain to effortlessly absorb complex information without the right strategies. We'll delve into practical techniques that can help you strengthen your mental focus, optimize your learning environment, and develop sustainable study habits. This isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. Everyone learns differently, and what works for one person might not work for another. That's why we'll explore a range of approaches, encouraging you to experiment and discover what resonates most with your individual learning style and preferences. This journey is about more than just academic success. It's about empowering you to take control of your mental energy, cultivate a deeper understanding of yourself, and develop lifelong learning skills that will serve you well in all areas of your life. It's about transforming the act of studying from a dreaded chore into a fulfilling and empowering experience. We'll look at how to break down overwhelming tasks into manageable steps, create a dedicated study space that minimizes distractions, and leverage the power of mindful breaks to recharge your mental batteries. We will also explore the importance of self-compassion and how to cultivate a more positive and supportive inner dialogue. Because sometimes, the biggest obstacle to our success is not the material itself, but the way we talk to ourselves about it. So let's embark on this journey together, not with a sense of obligation or pressure, but with curiosity, openness, and a willingness to experiment. Now, let's consider how this applies when you face that open textbook, the one that seems to repel your focus like opposing magnets. One subtle yet powerful technique involves understanding your chronotype, your natural inclination toward being a morning lark, a night owl, or something in between. Aligning your study schedule with your peak alertness times can dramatically improve retention and comprehension. If you're a morning person, tackle the most challenging subjects early in the day when your mind is freshest. Conversely, if you're more productive in the evening, reserve that time for complex tasks and use the morning for review or lighter reading. Beyond aligning with your natural rhythms, let's explore the concept of active recall. Rather than passively rereading notes or highlighting text, which creates a false sense of familiarity, actively test yourself on the material. This could involve using flashcards, answering practice questions, or even teaching the concepts to someone else. The act of retrieving information from memory strengthens neural pathways and solidifies learning. Think of it like this: rereading is like looking at a map. Active recall is like navigating the terrain yourself. One builds awareness, the other builds mastery. Turning our attention to sensory input, consider the impact of background noise. While some students swear by studying with music, research suggests that the type of music matters. Lyrics can be distracting, especially if they're complex or emotionally charged. Instrumental music, particularly ambient or classical pieces, can create a calming atmosphere that promotes focus. However, even instrumental music can be detrimental if it's too stimulating. The key is to find a balance that provides a subtle backdrop without overwhelming your cognitive resources. Moreover, some individuals thrive in complete silence, while others find it unnerving. Experiment to discover your optimal auditory environment. Another crucial layer involves the power of visualization. Before diving into a study session, take a few moments to visualize yourself successfully completing the task. Imagine yourself understanding the concepts, answering questions with confidence, and feeling a sense of accomplishment. This mental rehearsal can boost your motivation and reduce anxiety, making it easier to stay focused. Consider the analogy of an athlete visualizing a perfect performance before a competition. This mental preparation can significantly improve their chances of success. Likewise, visualizing a successful study session can prime your brain for optimal learning. In addition, examine the relationship between your physical well-being and your cognitive performance. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating a balanced diet? Are you engaging in regular physical activity? These seemingly unrelated factors can have a profound impact on your ability to focus and learn. Sleep deprivation, in particular, can impair cognitive function, making it difficult to concentrate and retain information. A healthy diet provides your brain with the nutrients it needs to function optimally, while regular exercise improves blood flow and reduces stress. Think of your body as the vehicle that carries your mind. If the vehicle is not properly maintained, it will be difficult to reach your destination. Reflecting on this journey so far, we begin to perceive a unified landscape emerging from what initially appeared as disparate strategies. It's as if we've been assembling a finely tuned instrument, each component, from understanding our individual rhythms to optimizing our sensory environment, playing a crucial role in orchestrating a symphony of focus. The underlying theme, perhaps, is one of harmonization, aligning our internal states with the external demands of learning. It's about creating a resonant frequency where our minds are receptive to the influx of knowledge, rather than resistant to it. In essence, we are crafting a personalized ecosystem for cognitive flourishing. This isn't about imposing rigid structures, but rather about cultivating an environment where concentration can naturally take root and blossom. The principles we've touched upon are less about discipline and more about self-awareness, understanding the unique contours of our minds and tailoring our approach to suit them. Imagine a gardener tending to a delicate plant, carefully adjusting the sunlight, water, and soil to create the optimal conditions for growth. Similarly, we are tending to our cognitive landscape, nurturing the seeds of focus and shielding them from the weeds of distraction. As we pivot towards the final reflection, it becomes clear that the true essence of conquering the study slump lies not in brute force, but in gentle persuasion. It's about coaxing our minds into a state of cooperation, rather than battling them into submission. It's about recognizing that our brains are not our adversaries, but rather our most valuable allies, capable of extraordinary feats of learning and creativity when treated with respect and understanding. This involves acknowledging our limitations, embracing our individual learning styles, and fostering a sense of self-compassion throughout the process. Drawing these threads together, we see that the path forward is paved with mindful intention. It's about approaching our studies not as a burden to be endured, but as an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. It's about transforming the act of learning from a passive reception of information into an active and engaging exploration of knowledge. It's about cultivating a sense of curiosity and wonder that fuels our desire to learn and empowers us to overcome challenges. The ultimate aim is not simply to ace the exam, but to cultivate a lifelong love of learning and a deep understanding of ourselves. In light of these insights, the transition towards the final message is less a conclusion and more an opening, a gateway to a new perspective on learning and self-mastery. It's about recognizing that the tools and techniques we've explored are not merely temporary fixes, but rather enduring principles that can be applied to all areas of our lives. It's about embracing the power of self-awareness, self-compassion, and mindful intention to unlock our full potential and live a life of purpose and fulfillment. The journey is ongoing, and the possibilities are limitless. Imagine, for a moment, that your mind is not a battlefield where focus is won through sheer force of will, but instead, a garden waiting to be cultivated. The study slump, then, isn't a sign of weakness or a personal failing, but simply an indication that the soil needs tending. It's a signal that the environment, both internal and external, isn't conducive to growth. Perhaps the weeds of distraction have taken root, or the nutrients of self-care are lacking. This shift in perspective, from combat to cultivation, is fundamental to overcoming the resistance you feel when facing your studies. It invites a gentler, more compassionate approach, one that acknowledges the inherent limitations of the human mind and seeks to work in harmony with its natural rhythms. The true practice begins now, not as a relentless pursuit of academic perfection, but as a mindful engagement with the process of learning. It's about transforming the act of studying from a chore into an exploration, a journey of discovery that nourishes both the intellect and the spirit. This requires a willingness to experiment, to adapt, and to embrace the inevitable setbacks along the way. There will be days when your focus wavers, when distractions beckon, and when the material seems impenetrable. These are not signs of failure, but rather opportunities to refine your approach, to deepen your understanding of yourself, and to cultivate greater resilience. The ultimate aim, therefore, is not simply to conquer the study slump, but to cultivate a sustainable and enriching relationship with learning. It's about fostering a sense of curiosity and wonder that transcends the immediate demands of academic achievement. It's about recognizing that the skills and strategies you develop in the context of your studies, the ability to focus, to persevere, to adapt, are invaluable assets that will serve you well in all areas of your life. Let this be more than just a collection of techniques. Let it be a call to self-discovery. Understand that the resistance you feel is not an external force to be battled, but an internal signal to be understood. Embrace the garden within, tend to it with care, and watch as your capacity for focus, learning, and growth blossoms beyond your wildest expectations. The journey of learning is a lifelong endeavor, and the most valuable lessons are often those learned not in the classroom, but in the quiet moments of self-reflection and mindful engagement with the world around you.